The purpose of this speech is to inform you, the audience, about the staircase of commitment. And specifically in reference to the staircase of commitment downwards, which is 5 steps. And I laugh because typically you see an informational speech or video and they're talking about how to make friends or maintain friendships or how to meet people or how to get people to like you. And I'm informing you about how to effectively not be friends with anyone anymore that you don't want to be friends with. And I'm going to do it in relation to an episode of Seinfeld. I believe it was within the first season. The specific episode is titled Male Unbonding. And Jerry, the main character, obviously the show's namesake and co-founder, he has a friend, and they've been friends since, according to him, 4th or 5th grade, or very early on in their lives. And the only thing they had in common was ping pong at the time. Well, they got older and they grew up, and they have nothing else in common anymore. They rarely see each other. There's no contact, there's no reaching out, except for every now and then, he'll want to go to a basketball game, or he'll want to have lunch or get coffee, and Jerry just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He just wants to move on. So they use the 5 steps downwards in a roundabout kind of a way about ending this relationship. And he tries to do it several different ways, and it just backfires on him because he feels bad, he feels guilty. And that's commonly not associated with the 5 steps. The 5 steps are more, we've drifted apart, we don't talk anymore, we do our own things, we see other people, we're trying to terminate the friendship or the relationship. So he tries to terminate the relationship in the coffee shop where they usually are, and they sit down at their booth. And he kind of beats around the bush a little bit, and he just says, look, I don't think it's working out. It's not you, it's me. And we're just not doing it. And the friend just bursts into tears. He can't handle it. And he's beside himself, he's distraught, and Jerry downplays it and says, well, let's rethink this a little bit. Maybe we can still be friends. We'll do the coffee thing. That's okay. I don't want you to cry. I want you to be calm and act like a man, and we can continue to be friends even though we don't have a basis for a relationship other than ping pong 30 years ago. And that seems to assuage any feeling that he had about it, and he feels better, and he moves on, and they agree to go to a Knicks game. Well, Jerry gets back to his apartment, and he starts thinking, I don't like this guy. I don't want to go to a Knicks game. He's using the avoiding technique again, part of the 5 steps down. And he's brainstorming ideas, and he gets out a sheet of paper, and he's writing down ideas. My mom has cancer. I have a flat tire. There's no more taxes. He's all these outlandish ideas he's jotting down. So whenever he calls, specifically him, but whenever anybody calls that he doesn't want to deal with, he just references his piece of paper and, yeah, my cat died. I got to go to a funeral today. He's purposely trying to avoid him, and he calls him, and he wants to go to the Knicks game, and he sets it up, and he gives him his ticket. And he says, we'll go to the Knicks game. Well, something happened. I can't specifically remember what it was. A softball game, or he had a date or something, and he just couldn't make it. And he legitimately couldn't make it, but he didn't want to tell the guy that he couldn't make it. So he was trying to come up with reasons to say, hey, this is a good reason, so you don't think I'm lying. Well, his next door neighbor, Kramer, ends up going to the game with this guy, and fell apart. See, that killed the great. I'm going 4.5 minutes into it. I'm doing great. It's dead. I might as well just. Okay, I apologize. I'm regrouping. See if this was taped or if this was a real thing. It'd be a lot more legitimate. That would be a good little break, but it doesn't really play well like this. Kramer goes to the game with this guy, and he comes back and he's, oh man, the game was great. You missed a hell of a game. Oh, why? And Jerry goes on to say, I don't like the guy. I don't want to be friends anymore. I'm trying to step away from the situation. He's just not getting it. I feel bad, but I don't want to be friends anymore. So the friend ends up coming up to the apartment after the game. This is shortly after Kramer comes in and starts talking about him and the game. And that's the end of the episode where he comes in and Elaine was like, "Oh, this guy can't be that bad. It's okay." And as soon as he comes in, she's just like, "I gotta go. I'm done. I'm leaving." Typical moment there where they just try to have as little human interaction as possible and just leave as quickly as possible. And he says, Jerry says, "I feel bad about not being able to make it. We'll have to go out for coffee or dinner or something sometime." Just happenstance. He didn't really want to. He's just trying to humor the guy to not make him feel bad because he didn't want to hurt his feelings, but he didn't want him to have any more interaction with the guy. And he pulls out the schedule and he says, "Well, we got 48 home games this year for the Knicks. We're going to have to make it to a Knicks game." And he just starts ticking off all the home games. Away, home, away. Oh, we got to see the Bulls. Air Jordan. How can you not like Air Jordan? Oh, we got Ewing. It's awesome. And then ends on that note where it's just like, the underlying message is just like, there's going to be some people that you can't stand, but for whatever reason, you can't bring yourself as a human being to just say, "Yeah, I don't want to be friends anymore." It's a typical human response to, you moved on, you have other interests, you get married or you have kids or you move away and you lose contact with someone that maybe you were best friends with or had a few things in common with, and we mature and we try and use the 5 steps of climbing downward of the friendship ladder, if you will. But it doesn't always work out the way that we want it to. And I don't think there's any definitive way to end a relationship amicably and have both parties feel good about it. I mean, nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, or no one wants to get their feelings hurt. So how do we walk away from a friendship or a relationship? It's the pattern of divorce. Someone always gets hurt in divorce. Either she gets all the money and she gets the car and everything, and he gets nothing, or he gets nothing, but at least he's away from her and doesn't have to deal with her anymore. But there's usually a kid in the situation, or children in this situation, and that kind of leans on where we're going, where it's not easy to just walk away and end things. The kids blame themselves. The kids wonder why. The kids, they only have one parental figure in their life, be it a mother or a father now, and it could be years, if never again, they have a 2-parent household with, a mother and a father, and the female and male aspects come into play. I mean, it's just not easy absolving and ending a relationship. There's no good way to do it where not everybody gets hurt. So that's the gist of it. I mean, that's a dissection of that episode in relation to trying to end a relationship using the 5 steps downward of commitment, and not quite fully getting there, which I think is pretty accurate in a lot of our cases in, the real world, if you will. We try and either maintain and make new friends or end old relationships. And that's where the greatness of the show, and particularly that episode, comes out of, is we're all human, and we don't purposely try and make anybody feel bad, so it's hard to say what we really think and what we really feel.